Welcome, guys, to an exciting episode of Take Me There. I'm your host, Dan Lin, and today we have a special treat for you. We are diving deep into the world of immersive technology and virtual reality. Our guest today is Ender Jiang, the CEO and founder of Hiverlab. A true visionary in the tech world, he has not only uncovered the magic of AR and VR, but also will be sharing his inspiring startup journey, and we are honored to have him with us today. So Hyverlab has been at the forefront of creating immersive experience that export us to new dimensions. Whether it's for business, education, or entertainment, Ender, with his expertise and pioneering spirits, has made significant impact in the tech world. So if you are tech enthusiasts looking for insights into the future of AR and VR, this is the episode you won't want to miss. So without further ado, let's jump right into the world of immersive tech with Ender. So welcome Ender to Tech Me There.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for the introduction. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you guys here. My name is Andrew. I'm the founder of Hiverlab. So Hiverlab has been a Singapore startup operating for 9 years. So it's quite a fruitful and pleasant journey that we have been having through the past 9 years to explore the possibilities of immersive tech all the way to where we are today. I think today, Hiverlab, we are more into a spatial computing domain using immersive tech as a medium, but we are actually building more technologies and products in the domain of spatial digital twin industry solutions. Yeah, really great to be here to share with our journey with technology and with Dan. Thank you for hosting me.
Thanks for the great introduction, and so I believe our audience with us in this call, I think something that they will be very interested about, which is what actually got you started your business, and particularly why Hyverlab is into the space of AR, VR, and immersive tech. So, what were you thinking back then?
Yes. I think back to the journey we started when I think 22 years old. I actually start to have my exposure of interactive media with my early employment, and that was a company that I've been working. They have been serving a lot of interactive installations and media technologies. I think back then I have my first exposure about how generally augmented reality works. And then we was using the technology solution which called the total immersion. It is a SDK that help the end user to build AR mobile applications. But the technology back then was not super established and it's very expensive. But I do see a potential of applying this immersive technology for a personal device. And I do believe that in the near future, our people or humans interaction with the digital world, it should be always as accessible as a mobile device. It might start with a mobile phone. It might goes to your general like specs or even the retina projections. I think back then I was also reading a book. The book was called Out of Control. It was written by Kevin Kelly. He's a technical philosopher, quite famous. And in this book, he mentioned the future world there will be a lot of human machine interactions. It's a hybrid, like organizations or hybrid creatures that will be invented. So I think the line between artificial intelligence and our general creator, our own human intelligence will be blurred. I think for us, it's quite important for us to understand that how much we can push our human beings to be empowered by media technologies. So I think that's when the years come 2014, I see the news that Facebook acquired this company called Oculus. So they have first generation of a VR device. And then I see the potential of having a VR device as a mobile device for end user to experience the immersive world, which can really improve a lot of interactions, operations, or learning. Then we decide to form the company, the Hyverlab, to pursue this media technology direction. Of course, in the early stage, it do take us a couple of years to navigate ourselves, to really find our niche. But for me, my background is more like a creative, kind of technologist. So I do a lot of interactive installations. I have a good sense of general engineer, general, like creative approach. And then I'm also a diver. So my very first exposure to immersive tech is coming from my diving experiences. Yeah, back to 2015, I was following this group called PSP, People Supporting People. It's actually Malaysia NGO group. They are doing very special activities. They actually teach disabled people to learn how to dive. it's quite hard to understand how exactly this happens. Because for me as a diver, I already buy and see practice, also a proper like a level myself, balancing myself, navigating myself. So I can't imagine how this works for the disabled people. Then I follow the group. Then with this, how do they teach? The first time I see that, I really feel these activities happening, and I see people are starting to uh, suspect and starting to believe through the session. So to me, I feel the power of immersive learning. What if we can use immersive technology to bring these experiences, to bring this sense of belief to more people? And so I start to follow the group. I actually assemble and design a very early prototype of a 360 camera. I'm just simply using a multiple GoPro. Actually, I did a lot of calculation to create a dome. I'm manufacturing the dome in a factory in China. Then they send me the sample. I actually build for failure prototype, eventually make it works to have a very first 360 capturing camera that we can run it underwater. So I actually grab this equipment. I follow the group in their activities in Redan and Mabu. And so it was some quite famous diving site. So I follow them with 3 days, and I kind of capture the experiences and do a lot of intense editing and stitching. Then after a few months, I released this documentary they call the against blue current. And so this actually talk about how this group of people really learn how do they enjoy the world underwater, and they use this video to encourage more people to look at this this program to start to believe that they can really learn diving. When I released this, I really introduced these experiences and shared experiences with more people. And when they put on the device, when they watch the experiences, they feel very well connected, and they feel a lot more believing and motivated. Yeah, so I can see the power of transforming their mind using an immersive technology. Then which firmed my mind of really going deep into this domain. Yeah, I think that was considered the very first experiment that I did, and there's just a lot of trial and errors, and really make it worse to strengthen my mind, to push more creating engaging, interactive storytelling experiences using immersive technology. Yes, of course, as time move on, we have been evolving a lot of forms, but my initial motivation has never changed. It's really create a sense of belief using media technologies. Yeah.
I understand. I mean, that's a great intention to actually start off with. Actually, I didn't know you were a diver. I didn't know you were into diving. But I think what you just shared is true that the way that we currently work nowadays in our space is beyond really just the conventional way, which is let's say a fixed screen. Right? Rather, we would actually like to have something that's much more interactive because there are a lot of people from different walks of life where they have different needs in terms of how they will perceive media and content. And that's the most important thing, which is how can we empower them through different media terminals. Like AR, VR devices is one way, or even how can we improve the efficiency of working? I mean, last time, even not through multimedia devices like AR, VR, but the way we work have changed a lot. I think even since last time, like people were using PowerPoint to do PowerPoint last time, right, to prepare slides. But in our current time, I believe most of the people, especially consumer level, recently I think more corporates were also changing the way that they work. I think this could also be seen like on Canva, like Canva.com. This is also one way that people start bringing down the entry barrier of solution adoption. But this is also one way to show that the public crowd nowadays are getting more open to new solutions like immersive technology. So beyond just showcasing the tech, I think right now it has also been widely used for learning education sector, right? And also on operation level where they will use all this media to help them better understand the environment, right? What is going on in terms of the operations. I think this definitely serves as a very helpful platform, which also leads us to the next topic that I want to discuss with you, which is on the product that you guys recently launched. So I do aware that based on Hiverlab, you guys have several product range from the since you guys incorporated, like Cloud Expo was one, right? But in the recent time, I do aware that you guys also started, right, or kickstart a product launch in IMDA. So within IMDA, I think there's one product you guys were introducing that was being called as spatial work, right? Particularly in the space of digital twin. So what actually inspired you or give you the idea to actually get started on to creating such a amazing product like a tool set for digital twin?
Yes, we recently released this new product, Spatial Work, but it is a product we've been developing over the past 2 years. I think Cloudflow, if you call Cloudflow as a virtual experiences creator, which really focus on the general communication experiences and it's like showcasing experiences. So this is really most of the company who are actually currently in the metaverse domain they are trying to do. I think for us, we have been following up the general growth of Industry 4.0 over the past few years. I've been witness how Singapore has been building a lot of smart city initiatives. We see a lot more IoT sensors being adopted and more like AI will be enabled in the different facilities and operations. Then we start to learn the concept of having a digital twin, which can be used to improve operations or the monitoring and efficiencies in the facility. So I think having witnessed and being involved of a lot of projects and testings R&Ds in this domain, we believe that as of today, in the domain of digital twin, they are still lacking of a tool or product offering to the market. Because most of the digital twin solutions we are seeing on the market are still considered a customized solution. The user will have a requirement, then they will engage a vendor to do end-to-end development to eventually deploy digital twin. Yeah, so I think for us, this is not ideal uh, delivery because if you actually hasn't the adoption of digital twin, I think for us, we definitely see the digital twin's value because you are able to provide instant informations in the space, not really informations on dashboard, not informations on database. It's more like the information that when the user need and where the user need. Yeah, so for us, we want to push ourselves to create a product offering for people to build their digital twin much easier. So the key concept is to apply a low coding practice. So I think from about 1.5 years ago, we start to assemble a team. We look at the goal and all the digital twin features currently the market already have. Then we start to do our ideations and overall product planning to see whether we can start to build a prototype for our current user or current client to build their digital twin by themselves. Yeah, so this journey start and it is quite a tough, but it's fruitful journey. Because through this journey, we are able to work out a lot of features by making some of our previous deliverable a lot more modular. And then we are able to create a high level of the feature that is able to cover a lot of interactive features for customized digital twin. Takeaway for building spatial work over the past 1.5 years is really we can see the transformations of our clients' behavior. They are starting to define themselves not as a client anymore. They start define themselves as a user. So we start to run more user training instead of like briefing or like customers meeting. So we will really teach some of the users to use the digital twin to maintain by themselves. We can definitely see the adoptions and the acceptance uh, is much faster than what we used to do in the past. I think
Yeah.
for spatial, the essential is to really make the creation of digital twin much easier, much accessible, so we are able to drive the overall adoption for this industry.
Understand. I mean, just now you also mentioned a point that I also feel the same sentiment. Whereby from our space right now, most of the digital twin tools they are focusing more on project-based setup. I think partially I also felt that it may also be because of the market, right? Because certain market has certain demands and directions. So that's also something that I felt from my own experience. But you do mention a point that in terms of user creation, the user having the flexibility to actually create their own digital twin, I think this is something that's really amazing. And I feel that that is also one of the ultimate goal that a lot of the key companies out there, solution provider, are trying to work towards. Because it is hard, because one of the hardest roadblock into creating a digital twin environment technically is the environment. right? How can we very quickly, fast-paced, create something virtually in the 3D model, definitely hand model for a certain area, and in a reasonable price point and timeline. I think that's also something because most of the time in the initial phase will be spent on building the environment, right? Then we will look into the systems or in terms of integrations. But I think something good about here is you can do it yourself with all the editing tools. I think this is something where, in terms of the user perspective, they may find it very useful because they no longer have to come back and forth with the solution provider to solve some even small minor bugs or problem to configure. I think this is where you provide them the allowance, the flexibility to make change. And then apart from that, you mentioned that in terms of the market, do you have certain preference in terms of moving ahead for this product? Because I know Hyverlab is headquartered in Singapore, but what is the future market venture in terms of this solution? Because from our discussion and my understanding from various partners, for such DIY, DIY kind of a setting product would actually bring in more demand from the States, right? Because they are more comfortable to do things on their own. And usually the deal cycle for this kind of platform level of tools will be much more preferred in the state. So what are your viewpoint in terms of the market?
Yes, I think for us, digital twin, the growth of digital twin is a global trend. I should say that as long the end user they are on the roadmap of driving Industry 4.0 or driving a smart building, I think for us it is a right profile because when they look at this roadmap, naturally digital twin will be one of the tools they need to onboard on their pocket, and really depends on which tools have a more like a friendly, convenient offering, and which tool have more suitable features. I think if you look at the globally for spatial digital twin, there's not a lot of players, especially as digital twin as a product. Maybe there's dozens of them, but definitely not hundreds of them. So I think for us, you look at the preferred industry for us, it's more like in industry like logistics, supply chain, manufacturing, and building environment. Because this industry, there are a lot of IoT sensors has been really planned and mapped. So in this environment, they also have relatively faster digital transformations in getting a central system. For example, in warehouse, they have a WMS, warehouse management system. Then in the manufacturing domain, they also have their own manufacturing plant system as well. The system have really play a key role in getting all these data in the backend. And so for digital twin, we can start to look at the integration with the existing infrastructure, digital infrastructure. Then moving on, we are able to look at the more IoT sensors to be integrated. So these are industry we feel have a higher adoption.
I see. This definitely takes a lot of effort in terms of streamlining the even the file format. I mean, the system integration side may be a very big headache to most enterprise and solution provider. So, I mean, throughout the period of creation of spatial work, when was the period that you find that is the lowest point, the toughest problem to solve, and how do you manage to overcome it?
I think for Hiverlab in the earlier year, I refer to the year maybe before 2021. I think the main challenge is the sustainability, because you always have a very limited resource in pushing a product. Because the product is a long cycle development work that have a very uh, a long cycle of return of your investment. As a for product, if you just rely on the subscription, it's very hard to sustain at early stage. Yeah, so you have to always have a this way of finding a balance. The company to have balance of consistent revenue. Then the revenue will be used to invest on product. But the challenge is if the product wasn't well positioned in the beginning, then the moment when you launch it, the moment you realize there's a growth challenge, then you have to really make decision whether you want to continue to push it or you want to just retire it to move to another product. I think every company look at the second curve. As far as we have been prove ourselves to be a good immersive tech suppliers in the region. So this revenue drive has been quite consistent, but this revenue drive is not sufficient to drive the company growth to the next level. So we definitely want to look at having a product offering. Yeah, so I think the challenge in the early stage was always look at what are the suitable product and roll out to the market. Yeah, Hyverlab has some product in the early stage we deploy and we drive it, and we did get adoptions, maybe the adoptions like hundreds of thousands of user level, but that was not sufficient. That was not very sustainable. Yeah, so sometimes we do make very tough decision to retire certain product, to position our team, to look at having reassemble the team to do new product. Yeah, so this is a very tough decision because eventually to build the product, it took years of effort, and all this source code, all this IP eventually turns out to be wasted, which is not something we want. Because it really means a waste of the resource, waste of the revenue. But this is actually an early challenge because when you have a very little resource, financial resource, then you realize each of decision is very painful. Yeah, but I think up to 2021, the company getting a bit more, generally more established. So we have more manpowers. We are getting larger size of project as well. Yeah, so we don't really have much challenge in sustainability, but now the challenge is scalability. Because if you look at having a product serving a local market, for Singapore market, it's not really sufficient for a product company to grow. You have to really look at growing to other countries. Yeah, so now our main challenge is how do we win? How do we beat the players coming from different countries, especially on digital twin product offering. Now, digital twin product in US or in Europe is more active. So we did see quite a few of the players, they're offering something like digital twin planning toolkit. So we keep close eyes on the product and we make sure that we have our edge in competing with them, or from the featuring to the commercial offering, and for the network to reseller channel to our own influence. Yeah, so these are the challenges, but it's a challenge I feel is very meaningful, because if you don't really have the right weapon and you are not really deserve to have a fight in the field. Yeah, so firstly, I think it's very blessing that over the years we managed to develop Spatial to the stage that it's ready to compete with the global players. And we can definitely see our advantage during the competition. We can definitely see the reason why you should choose our product than another product. Then, of course, the next thing is we want to have more results to drive the influence, drive the adoption. Yeah, so this will be the next challenge, because eventually this challenge means we definitely also look at the more fundraising opportunities as well. Yeah, so to accelerate the network, accelerate the growth in a few region. Because right now Hiverlab runs in 4 countries: Singapore, Dubai, India, and Vietnam. So we definitely have to grow more of that.
I see. When you mentioned effect on the new market like Dubai, which is in the Middle East, right? So yeah, I do have the same sentence. So from this particular product that you were working on, was it very difficult to scale down or narrow down in terms of the ideal customer segment or ICP in terms of the user who would be likely to use? So are you guys already scoping down on this, or are we still on the are you still on the process of actually narrowing down on this area? Is there any trends or statistics from your side that you will realize that actually based on this do-it-yourself platform like spatial work, likely is coming from, for example, is it the logistic industry? Is it from the commercial industry? Or more towards security and operations? Is there a particular industry?
I think for now, we look at the logistic, manufacturing and building environment. These are generally confident in the trade we are able to fight and win. Other energies, we are not really so strong because we do have a lot of profile of using the product in those energy. So it's really a chicken egg related question. So if you do have success in maybe industry like a port or airport, of course, we'll be more confident. But for now, it's because of nature of the current status. So we feel this industry is more competent.
I see. And I believe a lot of the audience from our podcast would also be curious and wondering, right, when you venture into a new market, right, what are some of the challenges, right, that you actually face in the period of setting up an overseas branch?
Yeah. I think that for setup, usually we consider a few factors. The first one is the control. For a simple company to set up a university in different countries, there are different process of registration and control policies. Yeah, so take example, for example, Indonesia as an example. Indonesia, if you look at the setup, having simple company as a shareholder, then usually you need to have a local director.
Mm.
So besides the director, you also need to have a capital investment. And some of the investment are quite a firm number that for us, we have to consider twice whether we should just put in capital at the early stage while we're still a testing market. So other countries might have a relatively loose requirement on the capital, but they may have a more strict requirement for the shareholding percentage for local shareholders. So actually, we look at the policy to decide whether we are able to have a easy and like smooth entries to the market without incurring too much admin costs. Because go through a local agency, sometimes you're not really going through just registration process with government. You also have to go through a local law firm to make sure that all your contracts with the maybe the local agencies are verified and secured. Especially we to communicate with the local agency using their language, like using in Dubai their language, and also Vietnamese language as well. So you do have a proper teammate who are, ideally will be your in-house teammate who are able to read and communicate in local language. So these factors will actually help us to a lot in deciding whether we are ready to go to a certain market. The second factor is about the partnerships and the channel we have to build before we decide to have incorporation. Because we believe that you should not really just behave and land in another country as a fully a foreign complete operation nature. You have to really localize yourself. So one way is to look at whether we can find a reliable partner, and the partner can represent us properly, and they can help us to navigate in the business world instead of us trying to always fly over to deal with the inquiry. And so I think this is quite important factor to currently ensuring all our current branch are running properly. And then we have this synergy, have this trustworthy relationship. So we believe this will help the company to sustain well and grow as well. Because a partner means you actually are giving the ownership of the Hiverlab to this person. It's really an individual. So this person need to really behave as a entrepreneurs, even the founders. They should really fight for the company's credibility. So I think these are the second factor. Maybe the last one is related to the competition and your advantage. Hiverlab's offering, it is considered unique enough, it's competitive enough in the market, whether the market is ready. Then we do decide whether we will really commit to the setup or we actually can only go with the reseller.
So moving forward, I think one of the key social stigma of the public having towards um, tech founders or entrepreneurs is usually very hard to manage work-life balance, right? But what is your take on this? Do you think that you are good in terms of managing an effective work-life balance between work as well as family? But we'd like to hear more from you.
Yes, I think balance wise, usually for founder is quite crucial. In the early stage, I wasn't really aware because when I just started Hiverlab, I didn't really get kid yet. Then I was just married for a while, so I realized I can be always a workaholic. I can really work overnight. Even when I get first kid, sometimes I always still work quite late. I might even bring my kid over to my office. So sometimes I bring my kids to sleep just beside me while I'm working. I really have some uh, chance that I really work the whole night. My kid is just sleeping beside me on the floor. I just make a mattress for him to sleep and was just 1, 2 years old. Yeah. Then, but as time move on, when he start to require more emotional, touching, relationship with us and also require more educations or focus time with us, I cannot really rely on, our helper. Then I do really spend time to teach him. And I think that was when he was about 2 to 3 years old. Yeah, but one of the interesting practice I do is actually in the beginning I was using this 3D camera to capture his life for quite a few years in the first three years as well. For me, it's really an interesting record to just record how do I teach him some very early step like taking the first step, trying to sit up and trying to run. So these are quite treasure memory for me because I really try to develop more meaning between my work and my life. I really want to use the tools and skill I have in my work to benefit or create unique experiences of my life as well. But as time move on, I always realize that this is one of the key motivation for me to look at the balancing. Because to me, there shouldn't be a concept of balancing. There should be more like motivation to make sure that your work and life can really benefit each other. Because these are most critical part of your life. Between these two, you are just sleeping. So if you are able to create a system that you are able to benefit your life by the knowledge of your work, or you're able to benefit work from your observation of your life, then it will really accelerate your own personal growth and help you to become more dedicated, determined founder. Because now your like drive is no longer just from the work you're observing, it's also from your life experiences. It's which so unique. It's very hard to replicate, which means you're able to build a unique advantage from your life experiences.
I understand. That was a great sharing. I personally believe that having a emotionally fulfilled and healthy family is the backbone of every entrepreneur. Before we dive into rapid fire, is um, based on the company wise, right? Based on Hiverlab, how do you make sure that you also bring in this particular culture of you from your personal life into the company to ensure that the company feels like a family or there's a work-life balance? So, what are some of the ways that you have tried to work around with your team?
Yeah, I think for Hiverlab, when we start to look at the setup of the team and set up the environment, I will usually apply a few principle ones. We hope the environment can be very open. So this room I'm sitting is not belong to me. This is only enclosed room in Hyperlab, which we belong to our finance manager. So it's because of the regulation of having a locked room for finance operations. That's why we have this room. I'm actually sitting just among everyone else in the open table. So table will have everyone sharing with each other. You can easily see each other whatever they are doing. We actually purposely angle the monitor so you don't really take much effort to look at other people's screen, because when you look at having a discussion of projects, it's much easier for you to easily look at each other's work. This will help us to create a very open conversation environment for everyone to talk to each other. The second way is about some activities. For me, I do always encourage our teammate to play basketball. We actually play basketball every week twice, Monday, Wednesday. Nowadays, we always play. So I think it's something I hope, through some sports activities, then we are able to motivate more like teamwork and more bonding with each other. And for me, I also feel that they are generally most of my teammates are much younger than me. So I take them as maybe a growing kid. So sometimes I'll talk to them maybe for the game they're playing, for the drama they've been watching. I think to really have a better understanding of each other. I myself I do also have a one-to-one session every few months for every individual. So this practice I've been taking, because I do feel that having a conversation about their personal growth journey or personal goal is quite crucial for them to understand where they are and how to help them understand just sometimes the company's general direction or vision. Because I think one of the key challenges for a growing up company is how do you really deliver your vision statement to an individual, even to a executive level, not really on the manager level. Yeah. So imagine a company is like a body. A body, the center is actually the power coming from the heart. The heart will pump your blood to your vessels to your ultimate end of fingers. But the fingers is the one who do the job. How can you really pump enough? You need to have a larger, more like strong heart, so you can pump your blood much faster, much stronger. So everyone there they can hear it. Or you might need to have a better, like a system that you're able to have a much lower friction to pump everything over. So to me, it's having a flat organizations to reduce the friction of the knowledge transfer or communication is quite crucial for everyone to know where we're heading towards. Yeah, so of course, the company have a monthly review, and also we have a team lunch. Every day we will just gather for lunch. It's a default activity. We don't really have much other uh, purpose meeting or like a event to try to look at the culture building. We just take as a daily activities. So then I think all this practice will make everyone feel it's like quite a quality, quite like home type of setup for me.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I do believe, and I'm a believer of flat hierarchy structure in terms of organization. So I think that's where we welcome more open innovation or ideas from the employees so that they are open to share. And then this is how enterprise or a company level can continuously improve, I think, as one. Yeah, because I mean, certain hierarchy still definitely needs to be set, but definitely is a much more open culture environment. Yeah, and so I believe we have come to the part on rapid fire. So I believe a lot of our audience would be interested to learn more from your perspective from the question that I'm about to throw out, which is if you were to given a superpower, supernatural power to be able to walk back into time or walk forward into the future, what would you have done?
Yeah, I think most of people they actually prefer this option. They actually want to walk to the past to make a decision to a certain key decision part of your life. I think what I heard is everyone through their life they only have a couple of window they can make a critical decision to define their future. Yeah, so like graduate, choice of schools, the first job, sometimes the second job. The second job is quite important. First job, you might be a bit blur. I think for me, yeah. So I just roll back to a few years ago, see the moment when I just received the very first round of seed funding from our local VC. I think what I realized that this was the first time when we do a fundraising in Singapore. Before this, I have a startup exit already in China. So in this round, when you look at the future of the company with this seed funding, I was trying to make a very a safe decision. I want to keep company as organic growth and try to make sure that we are able to expand more like business networks and more resources on building channels. But I didn't really try to build a product only business back then. Yeah, so I know that usually for a company when they have a investment, they might try to go with a burning mode. As in back then, I was very, very determined that I don't want to make company go into the burning mode because I'm not really very good in managing loss. Because I do have a moment before get this funding, the company is almost reaching bankrupt its scenario. So after that, becoming a lot more conservative in the how to use the fund. So we plan to use the fund to still continue to drive the organic growth of company. Of course, the decision I can't see right or wrong, but I do realize that by having a more conservative decision on the using the fund, I might lose some windows. The window maybe being a like a SaaS company that can scale up. Maybe I lost the window. Maybe I lost the opportunities of meeting more VCs faster, have a more like opportunities in navigating in the investment world. I think that's something I think maybe I should really reconsider that option again to try out whether I can be a more aggressive founder. Yeah, I think to me it's really about personality. Yeah, but the balance part is I managed to have a more stable organic growth business through the years, while some of our competitors they are no longer in the market, maybe due to a decision or risky decisions that were made. But for me, I think it's always the want to make sure that everyone feel we are working and living in a secure environment, that we have a more predictable plan, that we can keep the company sustainability as the first target always. Yeah, so that's the decision. I think if I have chance, I do want to have a try. Yeah, because I believe that I was a little bit over conservative back then.
Yeah, I think that's a great sharing because I do believe that there is no best decision made at any point of time, right? Because it's always out of your control. There are many uncertainties, but it's the incident or through this decision making process is what have we actually picked up, right, that we have learned to make us move even further or make better decisions in the future. I think this is always the thinking or mentality that we usually hold, and I believe this is always a healthy life cycle, a healthy cycle to actually move on. Because everyone picked up from the mistake. I think that's the best experience or best learning from every single decision-making juncture, right, that we have in our life. So I think with this, we'll come up with one last closing question. Right, I think just now you mentioned about walking back into the future if you were given a chance. But right now it's about the future of Hyverlab, as well as what the technology that Hyverlab holds can do for the tech industry. So how do you see in the future of your industry with Hyverlab into the picture?
I think in the future, what I believe that the world, the digital world need to be a lot more transparent to human beings. But today we are surrounded by more device or data, but we cannot really feel that. It doesn't really change the nature of us, because there's a layer how your digital world communicate with humans today. And so if you look at the communication, you look at the device, like mobile device, maybe a mixed reality device, those devices are still not that accessible. So I believe in the near future, within the industry, maybe 10 to 20 years, we might eventually have a retina projection technology which make the device much lighter. So your augmented layers will be always immersed with you in the space. So by then, your interaction with the physical space might no longer have to rely on any noticeable device anymore. For example, you just look at holding this kind of this cup, right? So you're able to definitely see the data immediately from your naked eyes. Because human retina system is not super complicated to hack. You can really build a neural layers from backbone to be able to communicate by giving certain electric triggers to make you see something in your vision system. Yeah, so by then the technology might rely on more biotech, might rely on more cloud edge computing. But this is not really a rocket science to us. It is a couple of years effort that we're able to stitch everything together. But by then, what eventually decide the content is more like the intelligence layer. It's more like experiences frameworks that we're able to build. And those are the effort we will be continue taking over the next few years to ensure that by then, if you have a really a consumer ready device, if you really have an environment that really equipped with digital environment, digital data, then we are able to have the bridge, have the information that really display to help people to be a better human beings in working more efficiently or learning faster or having a better interactive experience, communicative experience with each others. And those are the future world. I think we do want to witness and being one of the special force to push the human innovations to empower human beings for the future of us.
I see. Yeah. I mean, that's really walking into the future and making very significant change, which I find is necessary in the future on how human will perceive media, content, and the technology to enable all this to happen. Yeah. So, and then maybe just one last question, right? For the benefits of the audience. So, how would you actually define, right, a successful company from your perspective?
I think a successful company is a company who can apply first principle in the core business model. Yeah, so I think the company should not really try to sell a story to VC to just growth for the sake of growth, for the scale for the sake of expansion. It's a company who have a belief that the idea do have a convincible reason and clear strategy to change the world, to improve the current systems, improve the way how the world runs. Yeah, so if this principle is solid, the company's founder team are well united and having resources to push it to happen, to me, it's considered quite successful, irregardless of the size of the company. Yeah, so I think to me, a startup company need to be very good in solving very specific problem, much better than everyone else. But when you are growing bigger, you might be more ambitious. You might want to solve a bigger problem. But as long as you're buying mind of always solving the problem, improving the world, and the value should be always recognized, and you can sustain based on this belief, to me, it's very successful because you can always be very consistent internally and externally.
I see. So it's actually about creating a social impact based on the solution that we can actually deliver to the market. Right. So I think
Yes.
with that, it brings us to the end of the inspiring episode of Take Me There. Our goal is to empower and inspire young entrepreneurs like yourself to take the critical first step on your journey of innovation and discovery. So as we conclude, keep in mind that every entrepreneur started with an idea and determination. So take that first step, pursue your passion, and inspire others along the way. Thank you for joining us on Take Me There. Until next episode, stay inspired, keep pushing boundaries. Ciao.